What's up, peoples? Just getting prepped, waiting for the man himself. The man, the myth, the legend. Jay, what's up, brother? Latherhog, good to see ya. Moneybags. Mr. Ruds. What's up?
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm just trying to make sure every angle's correct here.
You're fine. Take your time. I'm just opening a beer.
Oh, Bud Light. I'll see your Bud Light and go with a Polar Seltzer tonight.
Oh, you're drinking hard tonight.
Yeah. So what do you got? What do you got on deck for tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to be using a company that you probably know very little about. It's actually a buddy of mine, started here in St. Louis. He is a fellow police officer. He is making a great shave soap and donating to a good cause. He's donating to Backstoppers, which is a place in St. Louis here where we give money to fallen families and fallen police officers. And so I'm using his new soap called First Line Shave.
Oh, nice.
And he's come a long way over the past 6 to 8 months, I'd say, and as a killer soap. I need to get one to you, by the way, so you can try it. So I'll message you later on tonight. But yeah, that's what I'll be using tonight, and I'm super stoked because this is one of his newer variations. He's still trying to get settled on what he wants. We're pretty close, but you know, he's a perfectionist, so he's trying to make it just right.
Nice. Nice.
And then for my brush, I will be using my Turtle Ship Shave Co. Probably one of my favorites, kind of acrylic handle, got the anchor in it. Actually, probably the first synthetic knot I ever had. And then my razor of choice, which I almost always use, is my 1914 Eveready. This is my go-to, man. I bought this at a shave meetup back in the summer, and I hardly touch anything else. I'm in love with it.
Nice. Good deal.
Now, what about you? What are you using tonight?
Unreleased. Let's see. Talbot Shaving Mont Ventoux. This is coming out. This is coming out probably next week. West Coast Shaving will have it today, and Chad will set up a release date with them. So it's a lavender scent with hints of rosemary. So we'll give this a whirl tonight. Kind of debut it to the world. I'll be using my Lutkin. I don't know if you've heard of Lutkin.
Yeah, beautiful brushes.
He does wood handles with the fractal burning, which kind of creates these patterns. They're all unique. So that Dovo Bismarck. This was a gift from my wife.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, this was a gift from my wife. I want to say 3 Christmases ago. It's just a stellar little razor. If we have time, we don't need to keep everybody too long, but if I do need to shave the dome, I'll be using the Blackland Vector. It's got a Schick P30 in it. And for post, I'll probably go with A&E Khalifa tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, have you used this new lavender scent yet?
No, I smelt it last night. So we have a small group. I'm going to start lathering here while we talk. But
yeah, sure.
I'm fortunate in the area where I'm at. We have about 6 or 7 wet shavers. All within an hour's drive. So we meet up once a month or so, just a little mini meetup. We exchange soaps, chat, talk smack about wet shaving and politics and everything else that comes to mind. And one of the participants in that group is Chad, who owns Talbot Shaving. So I was fortunate to get my hands on this first, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any opportunity? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just curious. You know, I obviously don't get to talk to you, so I'm just curious about how you came up with this red score, and you know, what do you think impact it's had on other people's opinions, and you know, how true do you stand behind your word? What makes you give that score at this point? You've tried everything on the market that there is, and you know what's good. I would call you like a soap connoisseur, for lack of a better term. And so I'm just curious how you put the effort into it. What do you look for? at this point, what stands out to you? What wows you?
So the Shave Score system itself kind of came about. Obviously, I've been doing reviews for probably almost 3 years now, at least 2 solid years. And you're right, I've used a lot. And I never really graded anything. And I didn't want to pin myself into this really deep scientific, system of scoring. There's a fellow on YouTube that has it's a wonderful system. It's a complex system of like 10 or 12 variables. He hasn't been around that long, but I enjoy his stuff. But anyway, so really Shave Score is nothing more to me than the slickness of the soap, both, when you see it on your face, the primary slickness, and then the residual slickness when you rinse it off, what's left behind that you can, buff with. And then post-shave feel. I don't consider price. I don't consider packaging. I don't consider artisan reputation, customer service, nothing. It's simply my experience with the soap base. You can't really put scent into that equation, I don't think, because people's noses are just so vastly different.
So when you're making these, you're not even looking at scent at all?
No, I discuss it, but it has no bearing on the, the actual score itself.
Sure.
I've had plenty of soaps with high ratings that particularly I didn't care for the scent at all, but that doesn't mean it didn't perform, phenomenally. So I never thought that, because what I may like for a scent, you may not. There's so many people that.
Oh yeah, scent is subjective, 100%.
And one thing, this Shave Score system has turned into more than I had imagined it would. But I always tell people it shouldn't be the be-all, end-all. It should be one part of your research when you're, thinking about buying something. It's just my opinion. At the end of the day, that's all it is. I may have experience.
Well, exactly. That's what I think is great, because obviously you're very, I would say, you're more of a numbers guy. I tend to be more descriptive, but I think that ultimately people like numbers. They like putting a number to something because it gives them something to go off of. But I just think, like you said, you shouldn't just take one person's word for it. You should go to the people that you trust, the people that you think are going to not bullshit you, and they're just going to be honest. Because, like you were mentioning too, you take packaging out of it, you take brand reputation out of it, and it's got to be hard to some respect, doesn't it? Because I'm sure you've established good relationships.
Absolutely. I have several artisans that I would consider friends. I have artisans that I hang out with in real life, have beers with, break bread with. My family meets with them and their families. So
yeah,
it's not easy to stay, objective, but I've always prided myself on that. I have never, said something was good that I didn't truly think was good, and I've never said something was bad because of any history with anyone.
Sure. Well, and I respect the hell out of you for that. And this kind of brings up my next question is, I'm sure you've gone through it. I know I have. Have you ever had a company, and I don't expect names, but have you ever had a company be turned off and not want to work with you anymore because you said their product was not as good as, they thought it was?
Nobody's ever actually come out and say that. I've had people contact me once and never contact me again, which is, obviously their choice, and I don't disrespect them for that. But so I don't know that it's ever happened, blatantly. Maybe they didn't like what I had to say and they just moved on. But nothing was ever, said in conversation like, hey, you'll never be asked
Sure.
to do this or that again.
Gotcha. So of all the things that are on the market, and, obviously people are trying to stay relevant and, be the next big thing, how much more can we do? I mean, how much besides using human fat next? What else can you possibly do to a soap that's going to make it any better than it already is? I mean, we've already pretty much hit. I feel like we've always hit the top shelf, but it seems like everyone's always trying to outdo each other.
It's a good, it's a good question, and it's a tough answer because if you asked me a year and a half ago, I don't know how long you've been wet shaving, but I've been wet shaving for going on 5 years this year. So I've been,
Okay.
I'm kind of an old hat. I don't spend as much time on the social media side as I used to, aside from, posting the videos. But anyways, if you had asked me that question a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I thought we hit the peak in terms of performance, with things like Barrister and Man, when he released his Glissant. Katie's Bubbles went to his French Plus formula. And at that point in time, I thought those were the best of the best. But then lo and behold, these people don't rest on their laurels, and they come back and they tweak and do their homework, and all of a sudden something gets better. So while we're at a pretty blessed time in terms of selection and soap performance, I wouldn't rule out it getting better over time.
I mean, that's exciting. It's exciting for everybody. I like the advancements and stuff. And, obviously you've been wet. I've been doing it for about 3 years. So you've been doing it longer than me. You were doing it before it was cool. And, it's blown up, and you have to admit the market's oversaturated. Every week somebody's out making a new soap, or a new company's coming up out of the woodwork trying to do it. Good for them, and that's fine. But I'm just curious to when you see the trend starting to kind of level off and people starting to realize, okay, this is it. Or do you think it's going to be a fierce back and forth fight between everybody?
No, I think the cream is already starting to rise to the top. If you were to, do some analytics on, what you see in Shaves of the Day on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Damn Fine Shave, and any of the other old school type forums out there, you'd be able to come up with your, the top 5 or 7 brands out there. And eventually I think, this feels almost to me like a year where some people will look at their business model and realize it's probably time to close up shop. I don't have any, any artisans in mind, but there are artisans you saw a few years ago that are almost irrelevant nowadays.
Sure.
It's the nature of the world. It's business. So.
Sure. But what do you think is making some of these companies be more profitable or more successful? Because, let's face it, a lot of people, myself included, I tend to buy with my eyes. Now, granted, I've been doing this and reviewing for long enough to I like to think that I know what's good and what's not. At the end of the day, if we think about it, anything in my collection, even the stuff that I don't display that's in my closet because I don't shave with it anymore, it all gets the job done. Right, but there's just, but there's something that just makes you go, wow. And they put their effort or their time into it. And, that's what I enjoy. That's what makes it fun and exciting is the fragrance, like experimentation, like Doug with PAA. He's a nut with all the different fragrances and the artwork and stuff. And then you've got other companies trying different fats and, and it's fun to see the experimentation of it.
Yeah. And it's fun to see which path each artisan takes to remain relevant.
Mm-hmm. So out of everything last year, I'd say 2018 is the year when now granted, I've been posting Shave of the Day photos for maybe almost 2 years, but I wasn't making it a big deal until about the last year is when I really started trying to up my content and make stuff look better and make people want to watch and, stuff like that. And I think last year's the year I was the most involved with the community and experimenting and getting to know a lot of owners and bring people onto my channel. So I'm just curious, what wowed you last year? What soaps really stood out to you? Granted, I don't watch all your videos, so I don't keep up on your RUD scores, but I'm curious what really surprised you this last year?
Oh boy, going on memory here.
You're be fine.
I'm trying to think because I did do a year-end kind of review. Barrister and Man Vespers towards the end of the year really wowed me. That was his kind of Christmas time winter scent, and the scent on that was just killer. And that was the introduction to the new base Excelsior.
Okay.
Talbot Shaving released Governor's Island last year, which was a exclusive to Pastor's Pharmacy in New York.
Okay.
And that was an amazing scent last year. Noble Otter updated his soap base in early 2018, and then he released a soap called Noir et Vanille, which was kind of like a tea and vanilla scent. A lot of people compared it to the famed Barrister and Man Night Music, but a more palatable version. It had less musk, more strawberry. That was a really great scent last year. You know, I don't get as wowed as I used to, unfortunately, because keeping up with all the products is a bit overwhelming sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
My collection is probably about a third of the size of what yours is because I tend to just review and move on from things.
Well, at the rate you go through soap with your testing, I couldn't imagine you'd have to have a whole like storage locker to pay for the amount of soap you had.
Right, exactly. You know, and that's a nice way to give back to the community is, you know, I've done more giveaways and PIFs and.
So what do you keep in your den is there ever a time that you just have to shave, that you're not shaving with something that you were sent to evaluate?
Oh, absolutely. I have every Talbot shaving made, including ones that, you know, only my small group of friends here in the Northeast have. And I use those quite a bit on, you know, what I would call my private shaves. My wife is extremely picky with scents, so I have quite a few cologne fragrance dupe scents. I have 3 Sterlings in the den right now. I have quite a few of the A&E ones that are cologne dupes. The new Murphy and McNeil stuff with the Aventus scent to it. Actually, I have some Katie's Bubbles. Chris was nice enough to make an anniversary soap for Angela and I last year called Angel Eyes, which is Jupe, based on Youp cologne, which a lot of people don't.
Oh, yeah.
My wife loves that, so.
That's funny, because that's more of a 90s fragrance, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I
think that's something. Go ahead.
The 90s was my prime. I'm 40, so.
Yeah.
That was my heyday.
So you have a lot of nostalgia tied to those scents of that era, obviously.
I do, yes.
I consider myself a 90s kid. I was born in 83, so I'm 35. I'm up there with you.
Sure.
But, you know, me and my buddy were talking about, you know, everyone's making cologne dupes of stuff that's out now, but, you know, what about, like, the Jupe or the CK1, you know, or the Tommy Athletics or just the regular Tommy Hilfiger? Or Curve, you know, I like to bring all that stuff back. That would be pretty cool.
Sure. Colin actually has Hilfiger if you really like that. It's called Liquid Labels 95. Yeah, and I want to say Stubble Buster might have Curve. Stubble Buster is the budget line of Chiseled Face.
Okay.
He's got a killer deal. I think you can get a puck of soap and an aftershave for. I'm gonna bastardize this. I think it's under 20. I think it's 18 total.
Okay.
And the aftershave is quite good. And the soap's not bad either, but the aftershave's a real star. He puts aspirin in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for
help with swelling and inflammation and redness.
Yeah. So
That's amazing. Now, I have to ask you too, when it comes to showering, do you use natural body soap too?
I do not. I'm lazy. I've tried quite a few artisan bath soaps, just through buying stuff. They send you the samples. Um, but quite honestly, they just don't last long enough for me.
They
So
don't. Yeah, they go quick.
I try to stick with like a glycerin-based soap. Like I don't know what's in the Dial I use, but Dial makes some glycerin-heavy soaps. So I'm hoping there's not too much crap in them.
Yeah, I agree with you that they definitely don't last as long. I've been lucky to have quite a few scents with some of the care packages I've had from companies. But even before that, I was getting them from a lady on Etsy out of New Mexico. She's like an army wife. And I remember the first time I used it because I was getting a similar experience on my body that I was on my face. I was getting that kind of post-shave glow, as I call it, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
And it's hooked me ever since. Not necessarily because it's artsy fartsy and it's made by a small company, but just because it feels better. And I don't have like ashy elbows anymore. I don't get the crazy dry cracked skin. Well, I mean, granted, if I'm outside in -20 weather, I'll still get it. But you know what I mean. Overall, my skin health is much better since I started wet shaving and using it on my body as well.
Yeah, there's certainly good things to be had with the artisan bath products across the board.
Yeah. So do you shave every day?
Uh, I do. Well, I shouldn't say every day. Yes, I typically do, although I'm actually working off 3 days growth here. I got really busy Sunday after I posted a video, so I didn't shave my face. And then I was busy yesterday and Monday, so I haven't shaved since Sunday until now. So
Okay.
I'm tearing off 3 days without issue,
Well,
though.
I'm mesmerized by your head shaving right now because everyone keeps giving me shit that I need to shave my head, and I'm scared. I'm scared to do that.
Oh, it's easy. Do
Oh, I know it.
do you need to shave your head?
Well, I mean, I wear a hat because not just because I look good. But, I'm losing hair. I've got some, but everyone's like, shave it off. I'm like, dude, my head's so big. I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, then you'll not be happy to know that I can grow a full head of hair. I just
Oh, you're a bastard.
Yeah, I used to cut it down to a 1, and I was just like, one day I'm like, you can hardly see it because it's so light. I said, you know what? Let's just try shaving it, and
Wow.
and it's been that way since. So
I got everyone in the chat. I have been hardly paying attention because I've been talking to you. People are giving me shit, telling me to shave it off.
yeah, I'm sure there's some. I'm sure we missed quite a few comments in there.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I'm sure I was getting roasted. That's all right though. Love all you guys. It's fun. And I'm glad you came on the Instagram here. We've got a good crowd. We got a good group of people. I'm on Facebook too. I do some of the forums there, but outside of that or Instagram, I just like you said, we have normal people lives too. So we can only do so much. And people are like, go to Reddit and go to this and go to these forums. And like, I don't have time. I've got a good group here on Instagram that follows me, and I've made a good community here. I don't see any need to go to other places just because I've got enough to deal with.
Right. It's not easy. You can quickly stretch yourself thin. It's really nice to see the Instagram community has really grown. I'd say since your time coming here, the last year and a half or 2 years, it's really grown. I know several of my I'll call them the old school shavers who kind of quit everything else, but they still participate on Instagram because they just love the format. It's quite international in terms of
Yeah.
the wet shavers you see. But I try to get everywhere. Obviously, YouTube's my most participated area right now, but I do belong to Reddit Wet Shaving, and I still am in a few Facebook groups and of course Instagram. So the only ones I don't really frequent a lot is the old style forums, and it's not because I don't like what's there. It's just I don't like that format. I can't get
Sure, understandable.
I can't get around the format. It's just bothersome to me.
Well, and see, that's kind of why I went, excuse me, it's kind of why I branched out into Instagram is because, yeah, there was a group of people on here, but nothing was happening. And my feed was nothing but just pictures of soap and a razor and a brush. And then every once in a while, you would see one that was like, oh, that's a nice photo. Oh, it's, I want to look at it more. And so I thought, you know what? I want to be, when you're scrolling through your feed mindlessly like we all do, I want you to stop and see my photo and be like, oh, shit, that's a nice photo. And so it started from that. It started working with trying to make it exciting. I wanted to tell a story with my eyes. And then companies started sending me stuff. And so I wanted to do my due justice by saying, okay, I'm being lucky enough by people sending me stuff that I should at least do them the right of justice by telling them if it sucks or not. Because they're all here to buy soap. And I'm not saying you have to like me. I don't say you have to like my personality or my format. But I guarantee you that when I tell you if it's good or not, like you, is that I'm going to tell you, because if you're going to put your money out there and you're going to say, well, Brian said that stuff was amazing and it was one of the worst soaps I ever used, that makes me look like crap too. I'm not getting paid for this. This is all just a service for us, for people who enjoy the hobby. And I think we do them a service by telling them the truth. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. I've always said this, and it's it sounds cliche, but my integrity is worth more than the cost of a soap. So
100%.
Regardless of how I acquire something, I'm always going to be honest. I've got no reason not to be.
What are you gaining off of it?
Exactly.
That's the thing. That's the way I look at it.
In fact, when I do have the unfortunate pleasure of rating something, not as highly as people would expect, those usually gain the most attention. So if I was in the business of trying to, keep relevant or gain popularity, I'd certainly shit on things more. But that's just not what I'm about. I'm about sharing the experience, and I'm fortunate. I have very soft water here. I've been doing it a long time, and there's not much I can't get to work. One of these days, I'm gonna lather an ivory bar of soap on YouTube and straight shave with it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That's how soft my water is.
That's insane.
So you had a good shave, I take it.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. This has been fantastic. I love being able to pick your brain a little bit, get to know you a little better. Is there anything you want the crowd to know, people to know what's going on with your channel? Anything exciting?
Nothing real exciting. I'll just let you know what's on deck for the rest of the week. I've got Mammoth Soaps Almond Leather tomorrow. We'll hit an official review of the Talbot Mont Ventoux Saturday, and then Sunday I've got a gentleman from Instagram was kind enough to loan me the PAA Supreme Sandalwood Science, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, yes. Okay, now to your nose, how does it smell? Just tell me. I have to know.
It smells quite a bit like an upscale Taubes sandalwood to me. It's that cologne-y vibe. It's not like a straight woody natural sandalwood like like the Talbot Iliahi Ridge or the Chatillon Luxe Santal Austere. This is more that cologne-y vibe where it takes several of the sandalwoods and kind of blends them together, so you get that, you kind of get the whole spectrum of
the whole package,
if you will. Yeah. So
nice.
I quite like the scent a lot. I'm a big sandalwood guy. So.
And obviously, I'm sure you've used CK6 before.
Yes, a couple times actually. I've been fortunate enough to be sent some tubs of it, and I think the shave score on that one's a 92. So it's it's up there. What's your highest rated of all time? Do you know off the top of your head? Yeah. Right now, Barrister and Man Excelsior is a 98.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, so this isn't breaking news. I've talked about it before, but I'm going to have to knock everything down. I'll probably just pick an arbitrary number, because if these artisans keep improving, it's supposed to be a 100-point scale, and we're dangerously close to it right now.
You got to condense everything a little bit.
Yeah, I just knock everything down, say 5 points, and we'll expand upon it from there. Um, the other thing I've been thinking about adding at some point this year, I think I want to add latherability into the shave score factor. How easy it is to lather, how much time you need to take, how much loading, how finicky it is um, with Badger versus synthetic. I just reviewed a soap recently that, for the life of me, I couldn't get to work with a Badger brush, which was quite humbling for me because I don't have problems lathering anything. So I think if I add that in, that will kind of help separate some things as well. There's quite a bit of stuff in the high 80s right now.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of stuff in the low 90s, and I'd like to kind of get it a little more spread out.
Sure, and obviously that makes sense too, because it's like you said, the bar keeps raising, so it keeps getting better. So people are wanting to try and improve, and you're having to adjust for that. I mean, that shows that the market's growing and people are still trying to improve on it, which is insane. Because if we come here 6 months from now, we may be having a different conversation. That what we thought was great now is not is irrelevant at this point.
Could be, yeah, absolutely. So what are your top artisans right now?
Personally, for me, the ones that wowed me last year were Zingari Man. I'm not trying to sound biased, but my buddy here at First Line has done a really good job with his tallow formula. Strike Old Shave has come out with a new tallow formula, which beats the pants off of their vegan formula. I don't know if you've tried that one yet, but that one really had wowed me. And then Highland Springs Soap Company from Canada was really surprising. And I think those are probably my top. Murphy & McNeil was a good contender. And I like a low, dense, structured lather. I have a Scuttle, but I don't use it very often because I feel like I get better results with a nice, thick, dense lather versus more of an airy, poofy lather as some people like it. But like you were saying too, is that, you're trying to there's so many variables. My shave could be great, but if you lather differently or you have a different brush or you have a different razor or your technique is different, just because you gave it a 98, somebody else may say, man, it didn't work for me. And so I think by you kind of trying to narrow that down a little bit, you're kind of, giving people more options.
Right. And what it does is it allows them to understand the factors that go into it. And I mean, even if you don't agree with the rating system, if you watch enough or if you read enough of the content and you know what I like and what you like, if I like something and you don't, but you like this and I don't, I mean, you can use my reviews as a way to stay away from things that I like that you don't. Simple as that. So it can go both ways. You can agree with me and use it as a tool, or you can disagree with me and still use it as a tool to, stay away. If I rate something highly,
Well, and that's the thing too is, like you were saying, don't just listen to you. Don't just listen to me. Take it, an accumulation, and then find out, like, if you say slickness is good, I say slickness is good, somebody else says slickness is good. Well, obviously the slickness is probably pretty good.
Right.
Take a consensus of all and channel it. Yep. And so I think that's what helps by having so many different people, so many different personalities and tastes and skin types. Because, somebody could say that worked great for them. And I think just by having those many different people doing it, you can get a better consensus versus listening to just one person.
Right. Absolutely. It should be a culmination of data before you purchase.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you coming on. I'm done shaving, obviously. You are done shaving. If you have nothing else, I think we're done, buddy.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Obviously this was my first live shave on Instagram. Not that I was uncomfortable with it. It's just the first time I tried the format and it worked quite well. So appreciate it. And
it did work well.
I wanted to mention, keep doing what you're doing with those artisan interviews. I think that's a real important thing for this community. I've enjoyed watching them. I don't typically catch them on Instagram, but I love how you upload them to YouTube the day after, and I've caught every one of them, while I'm at work. I just throw the earbuds in and listen to those. Those are great.
And I think that I'm just trying to tie people to a face and a name and realize that we're just people trying to make a good product. And I think by putting them together like that, it just makes the bond and the community grow better, because you establish personal relationships, whether it's their mission behind it, whether it's like Mammoth with the trafficking or it's First Line with the backstoppers. I think that just makes that project that much more special. And by letting that person come on and tell their story versus reading it on an internet page, I think just hits home a little closer.
Sure does. Sure does. You get to know who's behind the brand and what their missions are. You know, everybody's a person at the end of the day with things bigger than shaving, you know, weighing on their mind.
Buddy, I appreciate it. I think we're done here. So if we're done, I will catch you later, and let's do this again.
Yeah, anytime you let me know, and we'll go live. All right.
All right, buddy.
All right,
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you.
See ya. Guys, thanks so much for watching. That was an epic live shave. I'm humbled to have the man, the master on. Thanks for all you guys for joining me. I'm going to go back and read all these comments because I'm sure I'm being roasted, but I will read them and then I will handle appropriately. Have a good night. Love you all.